down on our backs, lying down. You can, I'll spotlight my video for you. There you go. All right, so starting down on your backs, we'll use our hand weights right away if you've got them. If not, just do the mobility work for your arms. So lying all the way down, reach your arms tall to the ceiling and your palms will turn into face one another, so in towards midline. We're just going to inhale and let their arms open up wide, let them hover from the ground, and then exhale, pull the arms back up, wrists over top of the shoulders. Inhale, arms open up wide. Exhale, pulling the arms back in, wrists over the shoulders. Keep going. Moving with the breath if possible. I like to use the exhale on more challenging movements. It just helps to engage the muscles a little bit more through the core. Trying to keep your back really steady. So just neutral back. We don't want any extra arching as the arms open up. Try and keep the breastbone just drawing down so that the back stays long here. One more like this with the arm. And then when the arms lift back up, you're going to let your right arm draw backwards and your left arm forward. And then exhale to lift back up, wrists over the shoulders. Right arm forwards, left arm back, and then lift back up. Right arm back, left arm forward, and then exhale to lift back up. Right arm forwards, left arm back, and then exhale to lift back up. Pause there, turn your palms to face forwards. We're going to start with bridge lift. We're going to exhale, lift the hips up towards the ceiling, press your arms down to the floor, and then inhale to lower your back down and lift the arms up, wrists over top of the shoulders. Exhale, lift the hips up, just roll the back up, arms will push down to the ground, and then lowering yourself back down. Try and go really smooth, so you just feel about one bone lifting up off of the ground at a time, going slow with the lift for your back, and then lowering yourself back down. Hopefully starting to feel that work through the backs of your legs and your glutes as you're lifting. Try and make sure your toes are pointing forward and you don't have the toes kind of pulling in or out. There's no like V shapes going on like that with your feet. You just have the toes directly forwards, going the same direction as your knees and hips. This is your last one. Now we're going to hold up in our bridge. So if you have the weights, you can just roll them out to the sides. Arms are down on the ground. We're going to let your right hip bone just drop down a little bit and then lift it back up. And then your left hip bone will sink down just a little bit and then it will lift back up. Right hip sinks down and then the right glute pushes the hip back up. And then the left hip sinks down a little bit and then the left glute presses the hip back up. Just alternating right side and left side, going slow, right side and left side, and then hold back up in the middle. Start to lift both heels off of the ground and then lower them down. Heels both lift up and then lower them down. Trying to work the backs of the calves and the backs of the glutes and your hamstrings. So the whole back line of the legs are working. And make sure it's even on the right leg and the left leg. Taking the same amount of work. If you feel any sensitivity throughout the low back, then just lower down to the ground for a rest. And that is anytime throughout the class. Just rest when you need, if you feel any strain in your muscles, because we do work the muscles, hopefully a lot of the time until fatigue. So if they're tired before we're done, which probably they will be, then just have a rest, no problem. Take 2 more lifts with the heels, 1 and 2. And when the heels come down, lower your back all the way down. Reach your right leg tall to the ceiling, and then just hold behind the back of the leg wherever you can reach. Make a few circles with your right ankle, trying to keep your leg long to focus on the lengthening. And then point your toes straight to the ceiling. Now keep your leg up, find your weights if you've got them again. Arms back up to the ceiling, wrist over the shoulders. We're gonna lower our right leg just halfway down, and then exhale to lift it back up, ankle over the hip. So lower the right leg just halfway, and then exhale to lift back up. Now we're gonna start to include the arms. As the leg lowers, let your arms stretch out to the sides, both arms wide, leg lowers down, and then lift back up. Both arms wide, leg lowers down, and then lifts back up. Take 3 more like this. 1, good, 2, and this is your last one. 3. Hold the arms up. Just bend your right knee so that it's in tabletop shape. So shin is flat with the ceiling. And then lift your left leg up into table as well. If you need to put anything under your back, please do. Start to bicycle your legs forward. So just slowly pedaling the legs forwards. Trying to keep your back steady. Take 4 more pedals. Hopefully you're trying to feel some muscles engaged through the very low belly. 1 more pedal forwards. And then you're gonna just place your right foot down to the ground and stretch your left leg tall. Start the same way. Just lower your left leg halfway and then exhale, lift it back up. Lower the left leg halfway down and then exhale to lift back up. Couple more, lowering down and lifting. 1 more, lower down and lift. Now let's do it with the arms. Arm stretch out, leg comes forwards, and then exhale to lift. Leg comes forwards, arm stretch wide, exhale to lift. Few more times the same. Working the low belly. Getting some strength through the arms and the upper body, even though we're just lying down. Two more. This is 1 and 2. Then when your leg lifts, you'll just bend your left knee into that table, lift your right leg slow up into table, and again, bicycle the legs forward, just pedaling forward, trying to feel that strength through low belly. It's time for a little bit more of a challenge. Stretch your arms back halfway. So their arms are back at a 45, and the legs are just pushing forwards and long. Take 2 more pedals, 1 and 2, and then bend your knees a lot. Feet to the ground, arms up to the ceiling, and then arms all the way down to the ground. Reach your right arm all the way back behind you on the ground. Then let's roll over onto the right side. Bring your left hand onto your left hip. We have our knees bent, legs stacked. I'm going to just press my left hip down towards my feet so that the bottom waist lengthens. Lift the top leg and then lower it down. Lift and lower. The top hand, the left hand, can either be resting on the ground in front of you, or you can have your left hand on your left hip, just to make sure that you feel the left hip really isn't getting much movement. Like you're not tipping forwards like this, or the hip isn't falling back. The top hip is directly stacked over the bottom hip. And then we'll feel the strength really build through the outside of the top glute. The next time that the leg's up, hold it up. You're going to stretch your leg long. Then you're going to make these rainbow shapes. You're going to tap your toes forwards, lift your leg up and tap the toes back. Lift the leg up and tap forwards. Lift the leg up and tap back. Now, as you're taking this, again, you're trying to make sure that the top hip isn't like swaying forwards or back. It's pretty steady. Just letting that leg lift and stretch back, lift and stretch forward. Everything else is pretty still. Keep going. Slow and steady here. One more time back. Let's go one more time forward. And then you're going to lift the leg up to center. Then you're just going to bend and stack the leg, but it will hover. And then stretch the leg long like you're standing. Bend and stack the leg. And then push the leg long like you're standing. Again, you can have your hand on the ground or your hand on the hip. If you want to challenge your balance a little bit, you might stretch that top arm up to the ceiling so the wrist is stacked over the shoulder there. Try and relax your bottom leg. A lot of work to hold the weight of this top leg up for so long. Take 2 more kicks, 1 and 2, and then you'll lower that leg down if you want. You can try and keep that top arm up, keep your feet together, clam, lift the top knee, and then lower the top knee. Lift the top knee, it's still the same muscle in the outer glute, lifting top knee and lowering. Toes and ankles are together, hip bones are both pointing forward. Good. 3 more. 1, 2, and 3. Take that top hand down. We're going to just roll onto our belly, onto our front. Take your arms beside you and bend your elbows so that your arms are at a 90-degree bend. You're going to just lift your chest up slightly. Then start to lift your arms up and lower your arms down. And you'll just look down to the ground so your neck is long. Just lift and lower, lift and lower. Elbows are up at the height of the shoulders here. And you just keep your chest up. So we're really not lifting the chest very high off the ground because we're staying for so long. This is going to strengthen, if you don't feel it yet, this is strengthening it through the upper back, just from lifting the arms and the chest slightly. Take 4 more. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then you'll lower that down. Take your hands in by the ribs and then press into your tabletop, so hands and knees. Tuck your toes under. Then you're going to start to exhale, hover your knees off the ground, and then inhale, lower them down. Exhale, lift and hover. Inhale, lower. Exhale to lift. Inhale to lower. 2 more, lift and lower. Last one, lift and lower. Now we're going to come to high kneeling with our TheraBand. So if it's not comfortable on your knees, you just sit all the way down or stand all the way up. Take your band forward. You're going to have the wrists as wide as the shoulders. Pull just your left arm out and then let it come in. Then pull just your right arm out and you let it come in. So just one arm at a time moving. And let the other arm be really still. If you don't have the band, you're doing the exact same movement with your arms. And there's just no resistance, but there's still the weight of your arms to hold up. If you don't have the band, but you do have weights, you can just do it holding the weights as well. So lots of different options for levels of strength, just depending on what extra props you want to use. Again, holding your arms up is really strengthening for your muscles. So if you're doing that, not to worry. One more either way. Left and right. And we're gonna go both arms at the same time. Both arms pull and back in. Both arms pull wide and back in. Take 5 more. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then when your hands come in, let your arms come down, come back into your tabletop. And you're just going to start to make circles with your right leg with a bent knee. So let your thigh pull out to the right, up, so the knee comes to hip height and back around. We often take this one, and it's really great mobility for your hip and a lot of strength for your core and your back and your arms and tabletop. Try once you get the movement and you've looked to the screen, just look back down to the ground so your neck is long, just in line with the rest of your back. Try not to pull your neck up forwards or tuck your chin in at all, just keeping length through the neck. The next time that the knee is up to hip height, you're going to start to pulse your thigh up and up and up. So your knee is hip height and then it's higher than hip height. Your toes are trying to kick towards the ceiling. Take 4 more. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now keep your thigh steady. Just extend your leg long. Then you're going to exhale, round your back, tuck your chin in, draw your knee to your nose, and then kick your leg long and your back long. Same thing, rounding through the back, knee to nose, hugging in, and then kicking the leg long. 1 more time. Knee pulls in tight towards the belly, and then stretching the leg long. Bend your knee down to the ground, coming back up into high kneeling. You can use weights or TheraBand or no prop. I'm gonna grab my weights. You're gonna just stretch your arms forwards and then start to bend your right elbow back. And you're pulling back and then straightening the arm behind you. So you're coming into a bit of a twist. And then you're bending your elbow, hand comes towards the shoulder, and then you push your arm forwards. Left side, pulling the left elbow back, and then extending the arm back behind you. Bend your elbow so the hand comes to the shoulder, and then push forward. So right side, bend your right elbow back, hand comes towards your shoulder, and then open the arm, stretch the arm wide, then bend the elbow and push the arm forward. Notice my hips are not moving. So my hips are pointing forwards, that any kind of twisting is coming through the mid-back. It's not a very big twist. So keep it really gentle through your back. Really, we're getting a lot of strength through the arms, holding the arms up, getting a little bit of movement, mobility through the mid-back. And we're working to keep the hips steady as we just move the upper body. So isolating the movement just to the upper body. This is going to be our last one on our left side. Then when your left arm comes forwards, both arms are going to come down. We're going to come back into tabletop, so hands and knees. I'm going to face the other way so you can see my moving leg. We're going to start to move your left leg in circles here with a bent knee. Keep going like that. Trying to keep the bend in the knee the same the whole time, so really steady. Try and let the thigh come wide and then up and around. Notice if the leg feels like it's getting kind of stuck anywhere. The next time that the thigh is up flat with the ceiling, you're going to hold it there, and then you're going to start to pulse the knee up. So the knee will come up higher than the height of the hip, and then just back down to hip height. And it might not be quite that high, might be somewhere down here, but any amount that you can lift your thigh up, do that while keeping the back long though. So if to get your leg up, the belly has to dip down a lot, we're not looking for that. Try and keep your back long, like you could balance a plate of food on your back. Then hold your thighs still, stretch your leg long, and you're going to exhale, pull knee to nose, and you're going to round your back and tuck the chin in, and then straighten the leg long and back. Knee to nose, round the back a lot, and then straighten the leg back behind you. 2 more, knee to nose rounding, and then pull the leg back. 1 more, knee to nose rounding, and pull the leg back. Then bend your knee back down to the ground. I'm going to turn to my left side, lying on my left side, all the way down, just like how we were on the right side. Legs are stacked, knees are bent. My right hand's going to come to my right hip, and I'm just going to push my right hip down a little bit so that this side of the waist stays long. Now you can have your top hand on the ground if you like, or on your top hip. You're going to just lift and lower the right leg now. Nice. Make sure that the top hip is directly stacked over the bottom hip. The outer glute will be really active here. We're going to try it for about 5 more lifts. 1, 2, going slow, 3, 4, 5. You know, keep the leg up, extend the leg long, like you were standing, and then you're going to tap your toes forward. Then you're going to lift the leg and tap the toes back, making sure that the hip doesn't pull back or fall forwards. Toes tap forwards, hips stay steady, leg lifts and toes tap back. Try and go really slow to make sure there's no movement at the pelvis, rocking, keeping it really still. Getting a lot of strength through the outer glute, folding the weight of the leg up. Try and keep your leg as long as possible so we're not really taking a bend in your knee as you're taking the movement. One more back, and then we're going to lift the leg up to center again. It's like you're standing, and you're going to start to just bend your knee to stack and hover over the bottom leg and straighten the leg along again. Bend your knee to stack and hover over the bottom leg, and then push your leg long like you're standing. Keep going like that. Very slow. Getting big strength for the outer glute. If you need to rest the leg down at all and then lift it up again after, that is fine. Take 3 more. 1, 2, and 3. Then when your knee bends, you're placing that top leg on the bottom leg. Coming into clam, just lift the top knee off of the bottom knee and lower it down. You're keeping your toes and ankles together, knees apart. Keep going. Let's take 5 more. 1, 2. It's really small. Watch, my knee doesn't lift very high. 3, 4, and 5. Good. And now we're going to roll back onto our belly. So just however is easiest. And then I'm going to take my weights in my hands. So if you've got them, you can grab them. And I'm going to have my arms back alongside my body. And I'm going to start to lift everything off the ground. So chest, arms, legs, and then lower back down. Lift everything up off the ground, chest, arms, legs, and lower back down. 3 more, lift and lower. 2 more, lift and lower. Last one, lift and lower. This time, different. Keep your legs on the ground, and you're gonna just lift your chest up and your arms up. Then you're gonna let your arms open out to the sides, and they're hovering from the ground, and then let the arms close in as much as they can over the back. Let your arms open up wide, and then let your arms close in. If it feels heavy with weights, then just let the weights come down to the ground. So arms are opening up, and then arms are pulling in. Arms are opening up, arms are pulling in. Your legs are heavy on the ground. The glutes should be active to press your hips heavy. The chest is only up a little bit so that it's more comfortable to breathe with your nose and mouth up off of the ground. Take one more like this with the arms. We should feel it in the triceps. And then lower everything down. Hands in by your ribs. Lift into tabletop, so hands and knees. Continuing for the triceps. Make sure that the bum does not push back. You're gonna let your elbows bend and let the forearms come down towards the ground. And the hips will not push back. And then you're pushing yourself all the way back up. Elbows are squeezing in, so your elbows are only as wide as your shoulders. And then you're pushing straight back up with your arms. 4 more, elbows are squeezing in, chest is coming low, and then you're lifting up. The forearms might not come to the ground, they might just come the direction of the ground. And lift, take 2 more. 1. Good. And 2. Good, and then lift all the way up onto high knees. Grab your weights again if you've got them. Elbows are bent. We're just going to lift our arms up, elbows at the height of the shoulders, and then you can let the arms glide back as much as they can. So you're lifting your arms, and then arms are pulling back, lifting, arms just gliding back, keeping that 90-degree in the arms. And if it's not good to be up in high kneeling, you can sit down and do this any amount or any way that you'd like to sit. 2 more like this. This is 1 and 2. Hold the arms up. Just open your arms wide and then close it. Open your arms wide, close it. They're staying at 90 for now. 2 more and then we'll add on. 1 and 2. And we'll add on. You'll open the arms out, stretch the arms straight, bend your elbows, and pull it. Open the arms out, stretch the arms wide, bend at the elbows, then forearms pull in. Keep going. A lot of strength for our upper body. Don't need any props, just the weight of your arms because we do so many repetitions. We're only going to add 1 more thing on. So this time, as your arms open up wide, or as your elbows bend, pardon me, you're going to stretch your arms up like a V shape, bend your elbows, pull in. So arms open, wide, you'll bend your elbows, push your arms to the ceiling, wide V, bend your elbows, forearms back in front of the face. Arms open, extend wide, elbows bend, push your arms straight up, elbows bend, forearms pull in. Keep going. We'll just do 2 more. Oops, I did it a little bit wrong. Arms are gonna open all the way out, bend your elbows, arms stretch up, bend your elbows, pull in. We'll do it 1 more time. Arms open, elbows bend, arms press straight up, elbows bend, and arms pull in. Let's take the arms all the way down. We'll just reach the arms to the ceiling, bend 1 elbow, hold on to it. Good, and then arms all the way up, bend the other elbow and just hold on to it. Good, and then take your hands to the ground so you're in more of a tabletop shape. Last stretch, right leg's gonna stretch out to the side, and then you're gonna twist away from it. So left arm's gonna reach up to the ceiling. And then left hand back down, right leg in. Left leg wide, right arm up, reaching towards the ceiling, twisting away from that front leg, stretching on the inner thigh. And then that hand will come down, that knee will come in, and you're all finished. So thanks so much for joining. And I will be here again next week.